Gentlemen, here we are, and I'm sure all of you are eagerly looking forward to a special address on artificial intelligence and how India can take the lead, featuring none other than Mr. Suresh Prabhu. And we were awaiting their presence joining us live virtually, which is why we managed to occupy a little bit of your time. That being said, I believe yesterday those who were part of the track sessions here also saw how one of our speakers, Lieutenant General retired Dr. Rajesh Pant, when he saw the term IAMAI and said it's a palindrome, but it also says I am AI. So the session today is all about how India can literally take the lead when it comes to artificial intelligence. Now, joining us this morning, we have Dr. Virginia Sharma of Google Cloud and also the chairperson, Digital Transformation Council, IAMAI, and she will be spearheading this special address featuring none other than the Honorable Mr. Suresh Prabhu, who's the founding Chancellor of Rishihood University and also guest professor of London School of Economics, former Union Minister. So firstly, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to Dr. Virginia Sharma and Shri Suresh Prabhu. Thank you so much for joining us at the 17th edition of India Digital Summit. I'm going to quickly request Dr. Virginia Sharma to present the welcome note and to take forward this particular session. Over to you then.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a great day too at the conference. It is my absolute pleasure and honor to introduce our esteemed guest, someone who I have followed and admired for many years in my 24-year career in digital and IT. Suresh Prabhu is actually currently the Chancellor of Rishihood University as the founding Chancellor, but has a lifetime career as a parliamentarian, as a minister, and of course, what he's currently a renowned leader and visionary who has made immense contributions to overall development of India in several sectors. He is the former Union Minister of Commerce and Industry, and Railways, and Civil Aviation, and has been instrumental in shaping the policy landscape in these sectors. Truly, this is the list of contributions to the development of the nation that is unmatched. And as a champion of digital transformation, Suresh Prabhu has also been in the forefront of driving the digital agenda of the country. And throughout the last couple of days, we've been hearing from many industry experts about how the India stack is really setting us up for the next wave of success for the country. Under his leadership, India has made significant progress in building the digital infrastructure and has been propagating the use of AI for good governance. His presence here today is really a testament to his commitment to promoting digital innovation and development in India, and it is really an honor to have you here, sir. Thank you for making time for this group, and we look forward to hearing your remarks, and I'm sure the audience is going to take a lot out of your address on the future of the digital industry in India. So if I can ask the audience to give a round of applause to welcome Shri Prabhu, sir, and I will turn it over to him to share his insights. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Okay. So thank you very much for these very kind words and also a bit of an encouragement so that I think what you said will motivate me to do something more in my life, whatever is left another old man. So thank you very much. And let me congratulate all of you for organizing this very interesting event at a most appropriate time on a very relevant subject. A world has always been changing, but nowadays changing so fast that we normally don't have time to look around. Because there's so much happening that you are just swept by the changes around you. And therefore, you don't really sit back, think, relax, and then rethink again. It's not possible. So something like this is very important to deliberate upon and talk about it in such a forum, bringing together very different kinds of people to talk on the same issue, providing different perspectives. So I really want to thank you and congratulate you. As you know, the reality has dawned on us that our evolution of human beings now has reached a very critical stage. In which so far what we are thinking was our exclusive domain of all the living species on the planet. We thought we possess more intelligence. So that question itself is very contentious, very doubtful, because so many other species are far better intelligent. But they show it in the right way. Because we show it in the wrong way, we shall take note of our so-called intelligence. Because when it manifests in the wrong way, it has very adverse consequences, and therefore people have to take note of it. Whereas probably elephant has more intelligence than us, but he will never behave or misbehave, and therefore we normally don't take note of it. So he also lives within himself, with the confines of whatever his domain is. But human beings have really decided to go beyond their own remit, and therefore now they are getting into many areas. And therefore I would say the intelligence was thought to be, uh, at least we believe as human beings, that is our exclusive USP. And now the human beings themselves have decided to, like we have done so many other outsourcing, we have decided that let's create another entity which can possess a similar or probably better intelligence. And therefore, though we are the creator, will be governed by the creation. And actually speaking, it's always been the case. We have always been, we have been a part of a creation, but always been governed by the creator. But that's the superior power, which always controlled, ruled, and managed the larger environment, larger universe. And therefore we have been part of it. But today, we have a very serious issue to debate on, deliberate on, as to what we have created. Would it remain under our own control? Would we still have the remote in our hand? Or would we really be now what we have created after some time, you'll rather feel, oh, did I did it the right way or the wrong way? So this is at the crossroad that we are at, and therefore we have to really debate on that. So let me just say one or two more sentences on this, and then we'll come to the opportunities for India. So I think at this particular time, I've been saying this for the last several years, that particularly for all these emerging technologies, particularly AI, we must think about globally, think about some sort of an ethical protocols that will really, really be necessary, helpful, and then it will not happen that marrying in haste and repenting at leisure. And therefore, I think we should really work on that very carefully. Now, coming to India, I think it's a great opportunity. I always seen that we have been more or less at the receiving end of technology. So technology was developed somewhere. After some time, we'll keep fighting. And I have, as a minister of several portfolios, 11 portfolios in last 26 years, I've always been saying in international forum that India must get access to technology. So this is what always has been a political statement that we have been making, that we need technology because you have created it, you must give it to us. As it's a right. It's good for humanity, good for everybody. And particularly in the climate change space, we've always been saying that if you give technology, we can address the climate change. So you must give finance as well as technology. So that has been a normal political overtones of our political discourse all over. But today, it's not a case anymore that we are not at the receiving end, but we are probably at a cutting edge of technology. We have been able to develop own technologies. We have been able to not only basic technologies, so an applied part of it. We have been able to do a significant contribution to that. And therefore, today we are at a stage wherein we should not just be going and using the same old rhetoric, give us technology, give us technology. We should be thinking differently. And therefore, in case of AI and all these emerging technologies, I think it's a time we should think about how do we become, if not a leader, at least a very important player into this whole space. Now, technology has two components. One is you develop a technology. Of course, then the application part itself, I'll put into one box of development. And the second part is when you actually use the technology. So now, on both ends, India can play a significant role. Use of technology, obviously, because we are such a huge population, now the biggest actually, we have surpassed China. And now we also have an economy which is far more diversified than what it was 75 years ago. 75 years ago, we only had agriculture. Now industry, though, still 14-15% of GDP, still more than what it was. And services have grown substantially, almost more than 60%. So in that scenario, we have an application for AI in each of these areas. If you look at agriculture, If you use AI properly, you can actually do many, many things. So cropping pattern is one of the big problem for India. Now, where should we actually grow a particular crop? We grow it because first, one of the reason is historical. Secondly, we do it because we don't have any alternative, nobody has taught us. We now can actually bring in the entire transformative ideas into entire value chain, the entire life cycle agriculture using AI. From the very basis of soil inputs, whether they're agriculture input, agrochemicals, that's what you normally call crop protection, water, very important. How do you use water and how much you use and when do you use? And as you know, almost 85% of the water in India is used for agriculture. And we are only 4% of the water of the world. So just imagine if you can actually make AI use properly in agriculture, entire value chain, as I said, including the subsequent post-harvesting. So pre-harvesting, post-harvesting, and also in terms of making sure that a kind of value-added product one should make out of it, it can actually change the entire lives of people of India. And this is the biggest problem that so far the technology and farmers interface has not been as much as it should have been. So we talk about biotechnology and therefore we actually work some part of that in agriculture. But barring that, the technology has somehow not really reached the farm as much as it should have. So it's a great opportunity now to actually work on it. Now take industry. This again has a huge possibility. AI itself will become an industry. That's a different matter. On its own it will grow, it's a different matter. But again, it cannot just, any industry cannot just grow on its own. You need customers, you need consumers, you must users. So actually, the rest of the industry can be actually revolving around the AI as a very critical and important aspect of their entire operation. Services obviously, and I don't want to deliberate on that because you all know about it. So short point I'm trying to make is that India has a great potential for use of technology. And therefore, each of these sectors are crying for such a transformative idea. As I said, agriculture in particular, two-thirds of the population. And you can bring that about and can bring about a value chain. For example, no agriculture can be divorced from animal husbandry. There's an interrelationship. You need animal on farm, but also animals can provide the necessary key inputs which can actually bring in a lot of nutritious value to the soil and therefore can change the entire life. Just imagine how to really bring about, we use traditional wisdom and knowledge. That's far more important, of course. Nobody can substitute it. So AI can probably have intelligence, but the wisdom and knowledge, and particularly the traditional knowledge coming out of billions of years of living on this planet will be useful. But still, if you can bring these ancillary activities on the border of agriculture, bring them into a sort of a unified product, an idea, which can be used by farmers for their own use. You cannot imagine the kind of impact it will have. The second part, not just agriculture, but AI should be used very effectively for natural resource management. One of the problem with natural resource management is we have very finite resources and infinite demand. And that's a big problem. And therefore, we are actually running out of resources globally. Just imagine the optimization of this, utilization of these resources can be made by some sort of a proper structured idea. It can actually bring about a completely transformative change, which actually can have a very positive impact on climate change and many other things as well. So that's actually a spin-off benefit. So I think in India, the use of AI for multifarious purposes is the opportunity is huge, immense. Because the penetration of technology in the past has not been as much. So therefore we actually start on a little bit of a cleaner slate, so therefore potential is huge. The second part, as I was saying, development of AI. So one, as I was saying, was use of it, the user of it, that's why India is an opportunity. Secondly, development part. See, one good part is an average Indian is hugely intelligent. I don't want to run down any other country, no other geography. I will tell you from my personal experience. The kind of intelligence our common people have is just mind-boggling. and I've been to 80% of the districts of India over the last several years being in politics. I was 6 times in the parliament. And I have seen personally incredible intelligence. So the people, how they think, how they operate, their mind is just unbelievable. And therefore, and because also they face a lot of adverse situation in which they have to live. So therefore, automatically the natural response system gets developed, and therefore the intelligence also comes to fore. So I think this is the opportunity in India to develop AI in a significant way using this brain power, this mindset, this ability of the individuals to think differently in a different situations, adaptability of their own human instinct to various challenges. So I think this is a great opportunity for India to develop it. Now the question that would be on this second part, the development part, how the education system in India can now be aligned to this possibility. Can we still want to study the old way, the old dictums? Yes, there is something like universal truth, which has to be taught at all times to come, because that's the foundation of human survival. So like when I know you are much younger than me, and I'm sure your parents have told me, my grandparents told me too, like my parents, that speak truth. That fundamental truth will never change. So education of any kind at home or in schools or in colleges must teach those fundamental and the universal part of it. But other education, the so-called modern curriculum, has to be aligned to this new reality. How to take advantage of this development? How to train mind to be attuned to the possibility of development of new ideas? How to actually the education should create creativity, promote creativity, and not kill it. The regimentation of education is a root cause of people thinking the same way. We want the best education is that I create a uniform thinking. This is a nonsense. Every individual is born with different ideas. He has different abilities. So why we should not actually, the education should not be able to bring that instinctive creativity to fore, and that can actually help in AI in a very significant way, because they would be the creators of new ideas, new products. So I think that is one thing we must actually keep in mind as to how the education will respond to this. And not education will lag behind as it has always been in terms of, no, I think I have been 30, 40 years back, I have made some curriculum, I cannot change it anymore because that's very sacrosanct for me. So I think this is another thing, is how to now create new educational platform so that this will create a new wave of people thinking differently, and therefore the AI and other products that will come in, all the emerging technologies, they will be able to be promoted and developed in our country. So I think, in my opinion, I know there are many other speakers to speak, so I don't take too much of time, but three things again. One, I was saying broadly, you must think about protocol, ethical protocol, because artificial intelligence should not again become a monster to be created, and when the genie is out of the bottle, I don't know how we are going to deal with that. One. Secondly, use of artificial intelligence in sectors where the sectors are crying for help, like agriculture, rural development, water management, natural resources. That's the second part. And the third part I was saying, how to actually create possibilities, building blocks, wherein we'll be able to actually use our real, well-developed intelligence in Indian mind to be the developers of new technologies, so that they will develop themselves. And ultimately, where do you bring the ideas? It comes from your own experience. It comes from your own vision. And that's what the individual in India has so much of it. So actually bring that to fore in an institutionalized manner, create some structures where this can happen properly, build partnership. Like for example, when you say blockchain, the blockchain needs actually, blockchain by definition is actually different blocks to be brought together and chained together. So actually, how do you make Indian mind, which in a way is individualistic, to make work in a societal form in which they will be able to build alliances, partnerships, work together, share ideas, share knowledge, and actually take it forward. I think these are great times that we are all in. This is actually good times and the bad times at the same time. I'm sure we'll make it in a way that will leave the bad behind, take the good forward, and develop this for a mutual benefit of society and the nature at the same time. We should not forget that we are a creation and we are there only because nature is there. Don't destroy it, work on it, work with it. Whatever new technology you develop, you should always keep this in mind. There is a much, much superior power, and that's nature, which has actually we are created by nature. If there was no nature, we would not be here today. So I hope we always keep this in mind, developing any new technologies, new ideas. Anyway, thank you very much for bringing me in. The person who lacks both natural intelligence as well as artificial intelligence, but still I could talk to all of such intelligent people like yourself. I really look forward to learning from all of you, though from a distance today, because I'm not there part of it. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Can we keep you for a few minutes to ask where I can ask a couple of questions? I think we have the opportunity, if you're okay, for me to engage maybe for another 4 or 5 minutes on a couple of areas.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So this was really enlightening. I think that what I really appreciated is when you zoom out, you know, from all the things that are happening, the universal truths that you were talking about, right? Really anchor, everybody's sort of strategy needs to anchor on what is universally true. And then there's moments of our digital transformation as a country that creates opportunities for developers and users alike. I'm curious to your point of view about whether you see how this will drive more inclusion of underrepresented communities. I know we spoke about industries, right? Agriculture and you know, resource management. But from a citizen point of view, how do you see AI creating perhaps opportunities to drive greater inclusion of underrepresented communities, if you have a point of view on that?
Sorry, I'm sorry, I'm speaking from my mobile because I'm traveling. So I think
No
there was a
problem.
call coming, so I missed out because I thought I'd disconnect the call. Sorry. I'm really
No
sorry.
problem. It gives me an opportunity to clarify my question as well. I'm curious if you have a point of view. You spoke about sectoral impact and opportunities for AI, whether it be agriculture or natural resource management. But I'm curious about your point of view about underrepresented communities and whether AI is an opportunity to drive greater inclusion. I know that, you know, mobile penetration really drove a lot of inclusion of underrepresented communities into the foray of the country's digital transformation. I'm curious whether you think AI will have a role to play to bring more people along on our economic progress and our digital progress in the country.
So you are absolutely right. In fact, I would feel that this is a great opportunity to leapfrog and actually bring all of them at a very fast pace. Hold it with both the hands with a particular purpose of actually doing this in a best possible manner. So I think you are absolutely right. This is a great possibility. For example, just see traditionally, we have been working on, say, every year I will do, say, 100 or 200. I'm just giving some number. And now it's possible that is 100 and 200 can become 100 million and 200 million without much of a difficulty. So that's a possibility. So scaling up something, trying to bring in at a much faster pace the change that we desire, all that is really possible. And therefore I'm saying it is a great opportunity, and every opportunity has a possible pitfall. So I think we should use our own wisdom to find out how do you take the bad behind and try to use the good part of that and take it forward. So you're absolutely right. I fully agree with you. This is a brilliant opportunity, and I'm sure people like you who will be doing it for a future, because I will be gone, I'm an old man, but you'll be there, and I'm sure I would really be wishing you all the best for making it a reality soon.
Great, thank you for the good wishes. Last question for you. As the Chancellor of Rishihood University, you did talk about you know, overhauling the modern curriculum to create space for the next generation of leaders, bringing more creativity and being really the creators of the use cases. I'm curious, what kind of anything that you're currently working on at Rishihood University that you'd like to share with us that would be ideas on how to bring this to practice? for those in the education who are looking at this topic. We have a lot of edutech startups, for example, and founders in the audience as well.
No, I think you're right that we have to now use all our institutions. Institution, when I'm saying institution structures that we have created in the past. So one structure is education as a structure. We can say other is governance as a structure. The third one you can say the social order as a structure. You can say the fourth one is international economic order as a structure. All of these are going to go about a sea change, and I think this one will happen sooner than what we expect or what we think, and therefore each of these structures have an existential threat in terms of the new technologies pervading and I would not say invading, but they're pervading on them. So I think we should therefore try to take this in as a response mechanism. We should try to find out how to respond it in a positive manner. What is that we really need to do? I think each one of them will have to conduct a very insightful exercise to understand the consequences and also therefore a positive response to make it happen, make it a win-win situation for them.
Thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate you taking the time and sharing your thoughts. Sir, if I can ask the audience to give a round of applause for Suresh Prabhu, thank you so much for spending your time with us here with the conference.
Thank you very much and all the best. And I think I will continue to remain engaged with you whenever you think I could help and contribute for the process. So I will be more than happy to do that. Thank you very much. And thanks once again for all of you to inviting me. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Virginia. And thank you very much, Sri Suresh Prabhuji, for joining us.